Hello, and thank you for your interest in the Mellon ACLS Dissertation Innovation Fellowships, which are offered by the American Council of Learned Societies, or ACLS. Our agenda includes a brief introduction to ACLS. We will then move into an overview of the program, including its goals and core application components. Finally, we'll look over some tips for creating an effective application. Founded in 1919, ACLS is a small private nonprofit organization headquartered in New York City. We are a federation of 86 scholarly societies, including major disciplines in the humanities and interpretive social sciences. Organizations such as the MLA, APA, CAA, and AAA are our members, as well as many associations representing subdisciplines and interdisciplinary fields as well. I hope you will take a moment to go to our website and learn more about our membership. ACLS is dedicated to advancing the creation and circulation of knowledge about humanity and human endeavors, past and present. This webinar will be focused solely on the Mellon ACLS Dissertation Innovation Fellowship. This year, we'll be offering up to 45 fellowships, and those awards consist of a $52,000 package of stipends. That's a $42,000 stipend for the academic year, with up to $5,000 in project costs and $3,000 in research funds. These funds are intended for travel to collections or fieldwork. In addition to research costs, some fellows regularly incur project costs related to working with community partners and exploring digital methods or purchasing equipment necessary to move the project forward. The $5,000 in project costs would go towards these expenses. In addition to these funds that go directly to the fellow, an additional $2,000 is included for fellows to work with an external mentor. That's someone who would be external to your advisory committee, if you have one set up already. The mentor you choose should be someone who sits outside your current advising relationships. The goal with the external mentorship is to allow fellows to broaden their intellectual networks and to receive advice and perspectives outside of their current advisors. The tenure of the award is the 2027 to 28 academic year. In addition to the monetary support that this fellowship provides, we will provide some professional development opportunities, including webinars and workshops, as well as opportunities for networking among members of the fellow community, the dissertation innovation community, but also more broadly across ACLS's community of scholars, alumni, and reviewers. Our full eligibility criteria are listed on our website, and I strongly encourage everybody to view our competition page where the eligibility criteria are outlined. What you see here is an abbreviated version, so I want to stress that the full eligibility criteria are best read on our website. To be eligible, applicants must be a PhD student in a humanities or social sciences department in the United States. You must be able to take up a full year of sustained research and training, and you have to be released from normal teaching, curricular, and administrative responsibilities. This fellowship cannot be combined with any other significant responsibility or significant fellowship. All fellows must have completed at least 2 years of their program and have finished all required PhD coursework by the start of the fellowship term. Finishing your required coursework before you embark on this fellowship will enable you to have sufficient grounding in your department and in your field to know exactly what the context for your innovative work will be. Another eligibility criteria is that no applicant can have achieved ABD status before January 1st, 2026. This is to ensure that writing and research are not well underway. This fellowship year is intended to help you explore, expand, and experiment in ways that will significantly define the dissertation project. Finally, you must intend to complete your dissertation after May 31st, 2029. This fellowship is not intended as a dissertation completion fellowship. I think the most frequently asked question we receive is, how do you define innovation? We welcome applications that propose different scholarly methodologies, interdisciplinary or transdisciplinary work, collaborative work, or publicly engaged work. We are also interested in thinking about different modes of scholarly practice. That could mean you're thinking about working with audiences beyond the academy. What impact would your work have on these audiences? Another way to think through this is to ask yourself, how does the innovative work, methodology, or approach help me better answer the questions that animate my dissertation? What will it allow us to do that we couldn't do beforehand? What kinds of audiences will it help us reach? Feel free to contact us at fellowships@acls.org if you have any questions about the definition of innovation. ACLS's own, even as I've described it, is incredibly broad. I encourage you to look at the abstracts of this year's Fellows projects to see the types of interventions that our Fellows are taking on. Our application process can take 6 to 8 months, depending on the program. We find that applicants do best when they plan ahead. This flowchart shows the major stages of the process, with the top row being the pre-application process, and the 2 rows below showing what happens to your application after it's submitted. After you submit your application, it undergoes a multi-stage peer review process. But the first stage is that ACLS will screen for eligibility and for formatting. Please make sure you are following the formatting guidelines as outlined on our competition page, our call for applications, and in our application portal. These are incredibly important. If you exceed these guidelines, your application will likely be held back and will not be submitted for peer review, which is something that we really want to avoid. This is a matter of equity for us. We want to ensure there's a level playing field where everybody has the same amount of space to make their case for their projects. We are strict about the formatting requirements, so please make sure to pay close attention to them. Once you get through that stage, your application will be read in a first round of peer review that will include specialists in your field. So if you're in history, you'll be read by historians in your area and period, for literature, a literature scholar who works in your subfield, and so on. But at least one of the first round reviewers might be connected to your project in an unorthodox way, perhaps via methodology, time period, theme, or geography. A similar method of assignment applies across all fields. In the first round of peer review, we're also considering your proposed innovation. We recruit reviewers who cover a broad range of disciplinary areas, as well as scholars who have expertise in the types of innovation you are proposing to use in your project. So if you plan to produce a digital archive, we'll assign someone who has experience working on these kinds of projects themselves to review your application. If your application passes through the first stage to the second stage, it will be read by a multidisciplinary selection committee. These committees are made up of scholars from across the humanities and interpretive social sciences, and those scholars will be selected for their involvement in moving doctoral education forward in innovative directions. At least one of those members would be connected to your discipline, but the others could be in a variety of different disciplines. So you really will want to demonstrate the stakes of your approach to an audience that's outside of your field. Please consider that as you're putting together your proposal, and we'll talk about the best strategies for doing that. In the final phase, ACLS will notify nominees. The nominees then accept or decline the award, and then we confirm the eligibility of these nominees and announce the fellowship awards. Now let's turn to the application itself. You'll be submitting a proposal of up to 7 pages that will contain a project description and the aims of your research. What kinds of supports are going to be necessary for you to execute your project? Will you be using a particular archive or partner with another organization? We will want to see that you've done the necessary research as to how to access that archive or establish a relationship with the organization. You'll want to demonstrate that you know exactly what is going to be needed to make this innovative work happen. This program comes with funds for an external mentor. You may not have the mentor in mind. You may not have come up with their name or have secured an agreement for mentorship at the time of application. That's all perfectly fine. At this point, if you don't have a specific person in mind, it's really important to say what kinds of qualities and support you're going to need from an external mentor to ideally make this project succeed and thrive. Whether or not you have a specific person in mind, we ask that you show that you're thinking through exactly why you need that person to be an external mentor for you and what they're going to be adding to the perspectives or to the definition of your problem. We know that the applications come far before the fellowship starts. We will ask you to cement the relationship by the start of the fellowship and to confirm it with ACLS. It's very important to address both the kind of innovation and the timing and intervention of this fellowship within your doctoral program and your research project. Where exactly will you be in the arc of your project in the next academic year? Where will this fellowship take you And what will it set you up to do? It is very important to signal to the peer reviewers that you know that this project has a beginning, middle, and an end, and that you know exactly how the resources offered by the fellowship over the academic year are going to move you closer to that goal. For the rest of the application, you'll also need to provide a timeline and work plan of 1 page and a bibliography of up to 2 pages. For the timeline, you must use the template that we have provided on the website. You must provide a short personal statement describing your journey as a scholar and how your work comes together at the nexus of personal experience, research interests, and desire to shift the forms and formats of academic research. This personal statement should be no more than 2 pages. Please provide a work sample of no more than 15 pages. We are calling it a work sample and not a writing sample, though we know that most of these samples will be submitted to us in writing. Some submissions might look like a blog post or a catalog entry or another kind of project that relates to the kind of work you want to accomplish in your dissertation project. Please do use the space afforded to you to pick the best example of your work, ideally something that will demonstrate to the reviewers exactly what your capacity is to carry forward the kinds of work on your dissertation that you're proposing. All applications must be accompanied by a letter of recommendation from your PhD advisor, or if you don't have one yet, someone who would potentially serve in that capacity, and 1 statement of institutional support, which is meant to affirm that you are meeting the eligibility requirements of this program and that the tuition and fees are going to be covered for the year. Typically, either your DGS, department chair, or dean would complete the institutional statement. We understand that every institution is different in the way that they handle fellowships for doctoral students. So if you have any questions or you face challenges in terms of getting that statement, please do write to us at fellowships@acls.org. I still encourage you to apply, and we can work with the dean or department chair or DGS of your program to make sure that they understand what the stakes of the fellowship are and what kind of support we're asking. This year's deadline is October 28th, 2026, 5 p.m. Eastern Time. In past years, it's been a 9 p.m. Eastern deadline, so please note that we've changed the time this year. Now let's go over some tips for applying to ACLS fellowships and grants. We recommend starting early. By starting early, you have time to consult with ACLS staff and have time to consult with colleagues in your Office of Sponsored Research. Once you've chosen your target grant, carefully read the application guidelines and program criteria. They can change from year to year. Use the resources available, office hours and webinars. Reach out to fellowships@acls.org if you have any questions. Use your networks, friends, advisors, colleagues, to solicit feedback on your drafts. Draft your application early. Don't wait until the last minute. That can be apparent in the quality of your application. Get comments from colleagues or mentors, especially those who don't know the details of your subfield. The more non-specialist eyes you can get on your draft, the better. And finally, give yourself time to submit the application. We recommend submitting before the last day. Triple check that you've got all the submission components. When putting together a proposal, it's important to think about genre and audience. Your ideas matter. How you present them matters too. We encourage applicants to bear in mind ACLS's particular review process when putting together their applications, and to consider how you can best articulate the problems you are tackling, your research questions, the stakes of your research, and your plans for research, writing, and dissemination. It is important to match your goals and plans to the program objectives. You don't need to restate the program objectives in your proposal, but a reviewer should be able to clearly see how the goals of the program are being advanced by the work that you propose. It is essential to spend time on your abstract, which should be a brief description of the project and the innovative research and dissertation project directions you will pursue. This is a piece of writing that should be additive and not duplicative of any text in your proposal, so please do not cut and paste the first paragraph of your proposal and put it in the abstract page. This is a major pet peeve of peer reviewers. I've heard many times from reviewers who are well aware that you only have so much space available to you and are aggravated on your behalf when you can't use that limited real estate as effectively as possible. So please use every square inch of the proposal to your best advantage. Every piece of the application counts. If we're asking for it, it's going to be part of our review process. Also, please think carefully about the broad humanistic significance statement. Given that the review committee in the second stage is an interdisciplinary one, this is a critical piece of writing where you demonstrate the importance of your work across fields. It's also very important to be clear and avoid jargon. This is important because of our interdisciplinary committee. Certainly, jargon has its own use as technical language within a particular field, but it can be alienating for people who are outside of that culture of usage of that particular technical term. You will want to make sure that at every stage you're bringing your reader along and not alienating them. Please do consider whether a piece of jargon or a technical term is absolutely necessary in putting together your proposal or making your argument. If there are any significant terms that you feel are absolutely necessary, you should make sure to define them early on in your proposal. You really want to make sure that no one misunderstands how you are using a term and what it means in the context of your project. Grant writing is very much a team sport. I think it's important for people to think about the dialogue that they're engaging in with peer reviewers. And remember, whether you're successful or not, you will be eligible to receive feedback on your application. Make sure you look at the evaluation criteria for this program on our website. These are the criteria with which you'll be evaluated by our peer reviewers, so it's important to keep those in mind when you're crafting your application. Another important thing to include on your proposal are what the end products are for your dissertation. This includes the entire dissertation in addition to what you're proposing to do during the fellowship year. The reviewers really want to know what you're proposing to do during the fellowship year and how it fits into the larger dissertation project. Your work plan and bibliography are two pieces of your application that can help reviewers understand whether or not you have realistic goals. Can it be completed in 9 to 12 months? And whether or not you are prepared to undertake this work. Your work plan will show that you have a clear understanding of what needs to be done and how long it will take. Please use the timeline template included on the ACLS website or within the application portal. Your bibliography will be one way that you show reviewers that you are aware of the most relevant and pertinent literature on your topic. Make sure that your bibliography is up to date. Your application will be stronger if you pay attention to the details too. Make sure you follow the application instructions, guidelines, and formatting requirements. Proofread. You don't want your wonderful ideas to be overwhelmed by silly spelling errors. Make sure to check our FAQ regularly. We will add questions that we receive in our fellowships@acls.org email address. And finally, it's really important to remember the deadline. The application deadline is October 28th, 2026, 5 p.m. Eastern. Please do mark that when you're putting together your checklist of application materials, and make sure you're working backward as carefully as possible to make sure that you have everything in by that time. We cannot offer extensions on the application deadline given the compressed schedule we have for peer review. Thanks again for watching this webinar, and if you have any further questions, please don't hesitate to email fellowships@acls.org. Good luck.